Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Richard Botha. I'm the head of strategy for Knowledge Electronic Media. And although we are a digital marketing company, we're actually a business optimization organization because we like to help clients to optimize their business. And the first way to optimize your business is to start thinking about your business and to understand what business is and what it's all about. So in the previous video, I referred to Robert Kiyosaki's quadrant. So let's have a look at that today, and that you can just see where you are, because there's lots of terminology that's been thrown around, and let's face it, in a woke world, there are terms that's thought up to soften the blow, to make people feel better. And money has got no feelings, but money does go where it's loved. Money doesn't care what your pronouns are or what you call yourself. If money is handled well and managed well and cared for, it will follow that person. It sounds crazy, but trust me, where people's got a bad mindset about money and they've got a limiting mindset about money, they're always poor. But where people's got a good relationship with money, it just flows to them. And people are always thinking, so how's it so easy for them? How does money just flow to them? How do people just gravitate to them and just give them money? It seems it's because of mindset. So let's look at the 4 quadrants that Robert Kiyosaki came up with. Let's just put Robert Kiyosaki in perspective. This is not a wannabe businessman. It's not a guy that just wrote a book because he's a college professor or something. He's actually talking from personal experience. Now, between him and his wife, Kim, they own about $10 billion worth of real estate. That's just the real estate. That's not their other businesses. So these people are seriously wealthy. They are first generation billionaires. They built themselves up from nothing. They're not young anymore. Robert is in his 70s, Kim is in his 60s. You do not build an empire overnight. It takes time. And where most people start is the top left-hand corner of the quadrant called the employee status. And it's a very important status. That means you've got a job. You go and work for somebody, you earn a salary, because that is the primary objective of having a job, is to earn a salary. Now, the same people that beg for a job tomorrow demand more things tomorrow. That's human nature. But a job is also an interesting thing. When you are recruited, you're recruited basically to do a repetitive task. Especially when you're young and you're unexperienced, you are put into a company and in the protection of the company to do repetitive tasks. You're not there to change the world. You're not there to reinvent the wheel. You're not there to change the direction the company is going in. No, you're there to do repetitive tasks. And yes, often young people are frustrated because nobody's listening to them and they want to make this difference in the world. The interesting thing is that young people, although they think that they've got the big picture view, what they think is their big picture view. The people with 30 years experience have that view before their first morning coffee, because it takes experience to grow your big picture, to understand, to have a strategic view of the world and take a million different data points into consideration when you make a decision. So it's difficult to be young. And yes, there is the accepted norm that when you're young, you're much better than what people think in your business that you are. And when you're old, you're not as good as people think you are. But that's the perception. So seniority is normally earned, but that's the employee state. Now, what's the benefits of an employee? You take no risk. Your biggest risk is being on time and dressed correctly at work. That's your biggest risk. Then it's effort. How much effort do you give the company? And are you willing to operate like a high-performance athlete, therefore giving your best for the 8 hours of the day you're there? Or are you only doing enough not to get into trouble because you've got this attitude that the company owes you, that they must be thankful because you pitched up today, and that you actually deserve your salary because you arrived today? Now, that's a limiting mindset, and that mindset will keep you an employee for the rest of your life. And guess what? You're going to work for 40 years for a number of companies, and you're going to retire and they're going to give you a golden watch and forget about you. And hopefully, you will die 5 years later because your money will run out by then. And remember, in the Western world, 94% of people who reach retirement age have not got enough financial resources to be financially independent. That's a fact. Now, in nature, and if you believe in any form of religion, in the Bible, there is no mention of retirement. It was a man-made thing that was created in 1956 by the Americans. Otto von Bismarck started the first pension fund in the late 1800s in Germany. But it's not a natural thing to retire because you're at your height of your experience and your knowledge, and now you want to go and sit around and wait to die. But that's a conversation for another day. So employee status is also guaranteed not to make you rich. You will work for a limited salary for the rest of your life, and you'll be happy with that if that's your mindset. Now, everybody's talking about the great resignation, and a lot of people are leaving employment to be self-employed. In the self-employment realm, there's a term that's being used as a solopreneur. That means you work on your own, you work for yourself, you're your own boss. Oh, fantastic. So what does that mean? That only means that you own a job. You probably sell your hours per day at a certain rate when you can sell it, and that determines your income. When you don't sell hours, you have zero income. So is that a good place to be? Is that a good boss to work for? You decide for yourself. Because when you go on holiday, you pay twice. Because you don't only pay for the holiday, you also lose the income that you would have derived if you did work. Do you need a holiday? Absolutely. Everybody needs it. Last year, Americans did not take 633 million days of leave. They didn't take it. What's the result of that? The Americans is the highest in the world in depression, in mental breakdown, in burnout. All the things that come with when you do not rest. Solopreneurs can hardly ever rest because they cannot afford to rest. So once you move out of that, and you've got no leverage, by the way, you don't have any other thing to sell. When you move out of that and you become a business owner, now that's the place where you can start creating wealth. Because when you start employing other people and you start leveraging their labor, the adage is you buy them at wholesale and you sell them at retail. Now you can start to make profit. And not everybody needs to work at the same time. In other words, you can take holidays. You can spend time with your family that you dearly love, but you never spend time in designing your life, and therefore you're trapped in a business that's not paying you well. You call it a business, but it's just a job that you own. When you are a business owner, then you own a system. And we spoke about it in the previous video. When you systemize your business, when you start running on other people's time, now you start to live and now you start to create wealth. But the ultimate wealth that we want to create is time. And the only time that you can move into that is when you become an investor. This is when you leverage your money against multiple businesses, and within those businesses, multiple people and their time and talents. And that's when you get your freedom with a good stream of income. So let's leave it there for now, and I'll see you in the next one.